I just want to do a video showing how it's mainly for my students and graduates that no longer have access to PLCs and HMI gear. There's so much you can do with PLCs and HMI, and there's so much to learn. They learn the basics in college, but there's so much further you can go. You can learn about OPC, you can learn about all the different types of HMIs, different types of controls, buttons, gauges, you know, all that sort of thing. Anyway, this is free software. The domore PLC, domore Designer, includes a great PLC emulator. It's fully functional. And also Redlion Controls has, it's called Crimson. Crimson is the HMI development tool, and it comes with a free emulator. It only runs for 15 or 5 minutes at a time. Might be 15, I can't remember. Anyway, but the point is you can restart it and use it as long as you want. It's free software, excellent for learning. Anyway, so that's why I'm doing this video. Just to show you my setup here, I've got my HMI on one computer system and my PLC on the other system, and I've got them linked up. This is my start button here, my stop button. This is status, running or stopped, and this is the flash that comes out of my timer. So I'm just going to back this up a little bit. And when I press the start button, my indicator goes green and my flasher starts flashing. And that's controlled by the PLC program over here. As you can see, the timers are counting. Just bring that in a little bit. You can see the timer counting there for my on and off flashing. And then when I press the stop button, it stops. And so start button and stop button. So I'm going to do a real simple example. I've got my PLC here with one input and one output. X0 is my input, Y0 is my output. But in order to control it from an HMI, I'll need a wire ORed C0. That's just a bit register that I can control externally. So that's going to be my example. I'll just write that to the PLC and get that ready to go. And we'll go to the simulator and we'll test it here, and we'll see that when we click X0 we get Y0. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to run the HMI side of this project. There's kind of four things you have to do. First thing is you have to link up to your PLC. So in communications, under network, under protocol 1 actually, you have to pick the type of PLC you're going to communicate with. In my case, it is an Automation Direct Koyo domore PLC. So that's all you have to do to choose the protocol that you're using for communication. And then in the PLC itself, you just set the IP address. And in my case, the IP address is 2.105. So 2.105 is my network, and that's the first thing you got to do. Then the next thing you got to do is your data tags. So I'm going to have one input, one output, so I'll need two flag tags. They're just single, true false type tags. So you can do numerics and strings and all kinds of stuff, but for now I'm just going to do two flag tags. So I'll just create the two flag tags. I'll call the first one push button, and the next one indicator. So push button and indicator. So the push button will come from the HMI and go to the PLC, and the indicator will come from the PLC and go to the indicator light on the HMI. So I'll set that link up in a second. Well, I could do it right now. I guess I could set up push button tag will link up to the PLC. So down here, PLC, and that is going to be a C register, C0, so that's all you have to do. It chooses 0 by default. And the indicator is going to be my Y0, my output from the PLC, right? So Y0, so I'll find Y0, there it is there. And so I've linked up between my tags and my PLC. Now I have to do my display. So about here, all you have to do is over here on the right, you just go to core primitives, gauges, bar line, graphs, all kinds of different things, core primitives, and go next until you find your buttons. And there's a button I want. I'm going to push that button and keep going till indicators. There's indicators, and I'll take that indicator. So this is going to be, I have to link this up to my tag. So the way you do that is on properties for the object. You action, and the action, first thing you have to specify that it is a push button, and then the type of push button is a normally open momentary, so that when you push it, it generates a 1, and you release it, it generates a 0. That's what you need to do. And the button data, I have to link it to my tags. So you can bring up your tags, over on the right hand side, tags, and push button tag, just drag that in there. So that makes the final linkage with the PLC. And my indicator light properties, I'll link that to my data tag as well. It's right here, indicator. So there we go, and we link it to my data tag. And now my HMI is ready. The next thing I have to do is set up the emulator. Normally you just have to do this once. It's under link. So because I don't actually have a real HMI hardware, I want to run it on the screen. So it's under link, options, and send to emulator, and then you configure it. And you actually have to have a physical Ethernet card. You cannot use Bluetooth. You cannot use Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi does not come up in the Ethernet port. So you have to use Ethernet from what I found. And that's good to go. So that's ready to go. And now the last thing to do is send this database to the emulator. I'll save it. Go save as. I'll call it Mark Simple. And now I'm going to send it to the emulator. So that's this button, and it will download. And I will be putting other videos in the description, so make sure you watch for that. And so here is my push button, and when I push the button, the light comes on, and when I release the button, the light goes off. And that's being controlled via the PLC. So it sends the button to the PLC then activates the indicator, and the indicator comes back. Simple as that.